Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. Today we are looking at a ship that I'm personally very excited about. This is HMAS Vampire, the Batmobile, the Vampire 2. The ship that actually sits in the Maritime Museum in Sydney and that I have actually had the privilege to walk on more than one occasion. In fact, I have actually made a video about this quite a while back, so I'm not going to go into too many details today. I'm just going to leave you a link in the description and somewhere in a thing here in YouTube to the other video that I made about the Vampire herself and the history of that ship and how she came to be where she is today. The one interesting thing that I probably want to point out right now today, though, is the fact that the Vampire is flying the British naval ensign. And while that might feel wrong, and that was also my first reaction, it turns out that the Australian White Naval Ensign wasn't actually in service until late 1960s. So while it was proposed, even before the First World War, for most of the time the Admiralty had decided to fly the British naval flag. So in that case, given that this is a 1950s constructed post-war design adjusted for Australia, it would have been still serving under that flag when she was commissioned. So I haven't looked at the actual top side, but I think she still has the open top bridge. So that is not yet the later refit. That is indeed the 1950s version, and that's what we are going with here. So, but unusual that we're not doing the history section, but like I said, whole video about it in any case. Vampire 2. Commonwealth Tech Premium. So let's have a quick look and see, obviously, given that this is a daring class destroyer with slight adjustments for the Australian waters, we'll have a look on how she compares to the daring. And the first thing that stands out is that she gets a lot of ship skills. So we have engine boosts, which are great because the darings are not the fastest ship out there. We have a smoke screen. We'll have to look at what that is in detail in a second. We do get sonar, but not quite as much. In return, we get better defensive AA. But that smoke generator... Oh, it's the crawling smoke generator. So this is the thing that creates a very long-lasting smoke, but that you can take with you, but only at half speed. So you can go 50% speed, and then you can take it with you, or you can sit in one place if you so desire and just use it there. It's not going to work, but you can sort of take it with you, which can be quite nice. However, it's got a 120-second cooldown, which is really long. So make sure that you use probably the first one early on when opportunity arises, because it takes 2 minutes for that to actually become available again, which is a stark difference towards the fuel smoke that only takes half the time to get off cooldown, but is obviously a short duration smoke and a get out of jail card, whereas the Vampire gets the crawling smoke. We have the single fire torpedoes. In that the two ships are completely the same. In terms of numbers, it turns out the daring has marginally more hit points. Otherwise, the hulls are pretty much the same. And for all intents and purposes, the maneuverability is identical on both ships. Like I said earlier, the darings are not the fastest destroyers out there, so having an engine boost is actually really nice. The guns are generally very good. These are low caliber guns. They're 113 or 4.5 inch, 113 millimeter or 4.5 inch guns, but they have a very fast rate of fire. In fact, the Vampire's guns are actually better than the darings. So she has a slight edge on range and has a slight edge on the reload. For that low caliber, they actually have a decent fire chance with 3%, but obviously don't do an awful lot of damage. But with that rate of fire, you don't really need to. So excellent gunboat, and like I said, the Vampire has a slight edge here. But when it comes to torpedoes, she only gets a single quintuple launcher, and that is historically accurate. The Vampire only had one torpedo launcher, whereas the Daring gets 2 quintuple launchers. Now in return, the Vampire's torpedoes do more damage, have a better range, and a faster reload, and a better flooding chance. But you only get one launcher. The AA is slightly better on the large caliber AA. These are dual purpose guns after all. And obviously she gets the better defensive AA, but still it's not a massive amount of anti-air. So you're not a dedicated AA destroyer like you would be in a Holland, that you would actually, actively be seeking out incoming airstrikes. And she's better in terms of concealment, which, in all fairness, doesn't really matter all that much because most of the time you're not torpedo boating with these guns. But the other thing that's really good about these ships is the turret alignment, because you've got two super firing turrets forward. Now, with the creeping fuel smoke, that means you can be sort of slowly chase after enemy ships while being smoked up and still get 2/3 of your guns on target. So that's actually a quite neat mechanic. So in all, we have a ship that is very similar to the Daring. The major difference is that you lose a torpedo launcher, but in return you get better torpedoes and you get better guns. So and you get better AA and you get better concealment, and you get, I would argue, well, you get different consumables, but you get an engine boost in the mix as well. So I think that's a decent trade to make all in all. In terms of setup, you can choose between main battery range and torpedo damage. I would probably go for main battery range because that allows you to, because you should basically hold the trigger down the whole game. There's no reason ever not to, unless you're very low on hit points and you need to quietly torpedo boat for a little bit. But generally, that's what I would recommend here. I have played 2 rounds, obviously one with the regular camouflage and one with the historical camo. Historical camo gives us range again, both on the main guns and the torpedoes, and traverse speed and surface detection. So it's an excellent choice of things. You can get the if you want your ship to look like something out of a Lovecraft novel, which in general I am not objecting to, but if you want it to look like that, you can. But unfortunately, instead of getting torpedo range, you get ship hit points, which is somewhat less useful. I mean, it's still decent because, again, it's a gunboat. But I personally probably would be taking torpedo range on a stats reason, except aside from the actual aesthetic reason that I generally prefer ships to look like ships and not like this. But if you want to have a giant squid on it and you want it to look like a piece of calamari, then there you go. That's something you could do. Equipment-wise, yes, I'm going all in on the gunboat here with the main battery mod 2. Haven't really had issues with my turrets being shot off an awful lot. And the rest is just the standard setup on destroyers. There's not an awful lot of choices here that you have to make, but with that, we are, before supplies are kicking in, we've got the main battery reload down to a sliver over 2 seconds with 6 guns. And we've got the torpedo range up to 10.3 kilometers. Oh yeah, and the guns have a 9.5 kilometer range at this point. So very workable. And the concealment is down to 5.3, which is an excellent concealment as well. So a very stealthy, very maneuverable gunboat. What's not to like? I do only have one commander, unfortunately, on the press account. I still don't know if there is a Commonwealth epic or legendary commander. If there is, then I don't have him here. But a couple of things probably worth mentioning here. I am using the battlefield support to get an extra sonar and extra air defense alert. I really don't see the purpose of having 15% torpedo detection if you have sonar, and especially if you want to use the recon skill. Although using the recon skill means that you're not going to be using exploit weakness, which is probably a skill that you want to have. So I'll leave it up to you. You can either go with, okay, I'll just not use my sonar all that much, or I'm going to be using my sonar more aggressively and then ditch the torpedo alert. So, either way around works really well. And the obvious other skill, you want the engine overload and most certainly the Mistweaver, both for the cooldown and for the extension of the duration, because you already have an extremely long-lasting smoke screen. That makes it even longer. I have actually picked the APCS because these are 113mm caliber guns, which is relatively small. And if you're fighting enemy destroyers with APCS, you have a bit of a better chance to get full penetrations with the armor piercing, because I don't think the IFHE would make any noticeable difference on these. And obviously the Giant Hunter for more damage from the torpedoes when you are hitting large stuff. So, 2 battles, one with regular consumables, one with premium, and with a fully upgraded captain. And yeah, there we go. That is the Vampire, the Australian daring. That if you ever come around in Sydney, I think right now she is actually in refits in the dockyard, but I haven't been to the city in a bit to check if she's actually where she should be. But generally, if you're coming around the Maritime Museum, it's well worth a visit if you are interested in ships and stuff. So if you are in Sydney, make sure you stop there. Anyway, let's go and see her in action. In the first round, we are facing an Essex, a Yamato, a Freddy, something, what's it, Black North Carolina. Oh, he's in a fail division with the Freddy. Okay, so it's he has made it into a tier 10 game in a tier 8 ship, and a Z52, and domination on the Okinawa map, which I think is relatively new. So let's see how that ends up. Now, you do have improved defensive AA, but this is still not an AA destroyer that can defend itself on its own against an incoming carrier strike. But we'll see what we can get done now that we actually have engine boosts which allow us to get a little bit of speed up. And I think the only destroyer we have to worry about is the Z. So I'm debating myself if I want to get the armor piercing out. I do have the Jinan with me, who does have a decent AA, so I'm going to go with him. We're going to take A-Cap. We'll see if we get air spotted here. Yes, we are. We'll see if the carrier is interested in us. It appears not so much. So that's good. Sonar up in case Z is lurking just outside the capture circle. And it doesn't look like. So we can make our way in here and start unloading high explosive spam at things. Oh, it's the bot Yugomo. Okay, I'm not really that interested in the bot Yugomo. We'll do some damage to him since we're here, but the bot Yugomo is doing the bot dance. So I grow tired of that very, very quickly. And then we will start unloading at that Friedrich der Große. Oh, look, will you look at that? The bot Yugomo has launched torpedoes. Yeah, that happens from time to time. I'm just going to ignore him. Maybe the Jinan can take him out or something. But I'm more interested in trying to set fires on that Freddy and see where he goes and see if I can get some torpedoes away. He looks like he's reversing, so let's get the torpedoes out and then we'll fire at that thing again. And it looks like, yeah, the Yugomo went, "Get down, Mr. President," and has taken all these torpedoes. Oh, well then. Yeah, well, there goes my attempt, but I will have the torpedoes reloaded reasonably quickly. And with the Jinan's help, I'm trying to HE spam that Freddy. I mean, Jinan could just go and drop some torpedoes on him by himself, but Freddy is now more interested in me, so we'll see if I can distract him a little. And my torpedoes are almost reloaded. He is on fire now. The carrier is helping out as well. So I'm using my creeping smoke to start with to slowly make my way towards the Friedrich der Große and see if I can set another fire, aiming for the superstructure. There come the Jinan torpedoes. And I'm not sure if he's dodged these or not. No, he's taken one. And now he's perma-flooding, double perma-fire, and there are more torpedoes coming in. So I'm gonna drop some more torpedoes in his general direction. But no, he's dead already. Okay. So that thing's died, which leaves us with the Black North Carolina. That's a single fire on him. And I think my smoke screen is either dissipating or there's a bot somewhere. No, it's still working. No, it's actually starting to dissipate. Okay, so now my smoke screen's down. That has lasted for a long time. But now I'm trying to go for permafires on the Black North Carolina. And There is also the carrier, so I'll make my way over there before the carrier notices me, because at this point I'm relatively alone out here, and the carrier can definitely make my life very short and interesting. There comes a torpedo strike. I'm just gonna stay my course, because my engine boost is still running, so I hope I can outrun most of the torpedoes. And he's actually shot my rudder off, which I haven't noticed in the heat of battle, because that Black North Carolina has loaded high explosive, I think, and has been doing a fair amount of damage, also with the secondaries. This just being a tier 8 ship doesn't mean we can underestimate it. So now I've gotten around, and now I'm just going to use the torpedoes to finish that thing off. He is turning left, so I'm leading slightly behind him, assuming that he is going to turn around. And unfortunately I've taken a lot of damage from this, both from the carrier airstrike but now he's overturned. And yeah, because I had to repair my rudder, I am now got a permafire going. There comes another airstrike. Okay, I got lucky on that one, but not for much longer. I do have to be careful with it with these torpedo bombers, so I am slowing down and using my fuel smoke, or not fuel smoke, my creeping smoke. Unfortunately it takes a couple of seconds until that's active, but now it is. And now I'm just going to have to wiggle around and make sure to point the nose towards the torpedo bombers, such that he can't actually hit me with these, because I would have been dead if he did. Now here's a bit of a problem. Because of the creeping fuel smoke, I can't actually go chasing after the Essex, because I only have 800 hit points left. I can now heal up a little bit, but if I was going to go full speed, I would have outrun my creeping smoke. Unfortunately, even now, that thing is far enough away that even with an engine boost, I'm probably not going to catch it before it makes its way behind an island and gets the next gets outside of torpedo range and gets the next strike wing off. So while I am getting a fire finally, and now the Essex just has to get lucky once with the dive bombers. It is an American carrier, so yeah, these dive bombers, even with the defensive AA up, they only have to get lucky once, and that is it. Not an awful lot I can do about this, but unfortunately my team has sort of died. We're still ahead on points, so if that Yamato can just manage to, yeah, but here's the problem. If there is a carrier out there, and well played for the Essex, I have to say. If I had been in a daring and had a second torpedo launcher ready, where I could have, after killing the Black North Carolina, I could have unloaded at the Essex while I was still close by, things might have ended up differently. But as it stands, the Yamato would have to survive for another minute, and given that that's a carrier out there, there's absolutely no way that he's going to survive that long, and we are not going to be having the points, unfortunately. We would have had the points, but we're not going to have the ships to survive this, because that airstrike's going to finish off the Yamato most likely. Yeah, that's a double fire, Damacons. Okay, a little early with the Essex, but he's on so low hit points. Yeah, he's not having a chance. Now, still good ship that. And you can see that you can do some fearful things with these guns. And if you can get the torpedoes on target a couple of times, you can relatively easily rack up the damage. And yeah, there we go. So unfortunately, wasn't meant to be, but was still a good battle nonetheless, and does show the strength and somewhat limitations as well, especially with that creeping smoke, because you can only go half speed in it. And the actual fuel smoke would have probably been slightly more useful in that regard. But anyway, so let's see. We did come out on top of the team. And yeah, we've done a decent amount of torpedo damage, decent amount of damage with the guns. Not as much as I wanted with the fires. But well played to the enemy Yamato. That seems to have taken out a fair amount of our team. In the second game, I have actually put the historical camo on and the fully upgraded captain, but I have forgotten to put premium consumables in, just if you're surprised by that. And it's domination on Friar's Lantern, and there's a Midway. American carriers, aren't they fun? Midway, double poison, Black Freddy, Nevsky, Worcester, and Shima. Ooh. We do have a Des Moines and a Minnow, and a Minnow on our team, so Minotaur. That's a decent amount of AA as well. And maybe the MVR can take out the Midway. That would be awesome if he can carrier snipe that thing. Otherwise, we do have a fair amount of AA by ourselves. But situations like this, I am the only destroyer on the team. I am going to go for the cap, but carefully so. Because I don't want to be singled out by, especially by an American carrier. These dive bombers are absolutely vicious, and there's no way to actually dodge them or escape them. So I'm going to stick with the Des Moines here. I'm still going to go for the scout and for the cap, but we'll see where the airstrike's going. And worst case, I will try to fuel smoke or creeping smoke to avoid the torpedo planes. I'd rather not, because I only get 2 of those, and I'd rather make use of them, but we'll see. So far the carrier is going north, which means the Minotaur on our team is going to be the recipient of that initial airstrike. Minotaur has decent AA, so it shouldn't be that bad. And that means we can just boost ahead and see what we are facing in the enemy capture circle. There is 1 destroyer on the enemy team as well. But that looks more like a cruiser cap, so I don't think the destroyer is over here, which means I don't know where that thing is, because A cap hasn't even been taken, or it's been very slow. Okay, that's a Worcester, but I have a Des Moines, so that should be okay. And I'm going to give fire support, and we'll rain down death and destruction on that Worcester. Is he going to come around that corner there? That would be much appreciated. So let's drop some torpedoes in a slight pattern. Relatively tight, then we'll slam her in reverse, because there's also poison out there. And I'm already going to start unload at the poison at this point. Worcester is firing high explosive at me, but I'm already in reverse here. Don't need to use the smoke. Worcester has radar. There's no point in doing that. Just reversing back, because Worcester certainly does not want to push into Des Moines. I've got 2 torpedoes on target, shot off something. Hopefully that was important. And at this point I can probably already start see if I can do something about the poison. I'm just going to turn around already. It looks like Des Moines is not interested to push any further. And maybe given the air situation, that's not a terrible idea. Also there is a poison out there, so do have to be somewhat careful. There come the poison's auto secondaries already. Yeah, Des Moines, you need to move. You need to get that island between yourself. Leave that poison to me. You go after Worcester. Now, I'm not sure if poison is going inside or outside, but I'm going to drop the torpedoes here just in case he goes inside. No, I think he goes outside. In which case, he probably would have run out of torpedo range anyway if I had dropped on the outside, because while these torpedoes have a very long range, it's not that long. So yeah, these torpedoes are just going to hit the island. But it's good to have deflected the poison. And have you finished that Worcester just yet, or is it run away? Okay, I'm going to help out over there. There's the Shima. The MVR, unfortunately, isn't... well, with the Worcester out there, it's probably not a terrible idea, but has not been going after the carrier. So that Midway is still alive and kicking. There's a Shimakaze. But I'm still trying to get fire set on the poison. I'm going to get the sonar up though, because there are probably going to be Shima torpedoes coming in with Lion. Finally managed to get a fire, but I think the poison is now dead. There come the Shimakaze torpedoes. That's why I've run the sonar, and now we're going to chase after the Shima, because I think there is a cruiser coming up, or a battleship coming up north, and there's a cruiser out there still. We have lost a friendly Kosakur first to that poison, and I think that's a Nevsky out there. So let's see if we can finish off the Shima while he is still spotted. But I am going to, there we go. I'm going to use my creeping smoke and take the capture circle in A, and then start unloading at the Nevsky at long range. Obviously not something I want to tangle with if I can avoid it, but for the next 40 odd seconds I'm going to be not visible to that thing. So. Because I'm certainly not within radar range. Can't remember if that gets radar, but I wouldn't be in range if it did, so I should be safe here, and just raining HE on him and see how the fires go. There's 1, there's 2, Damacon? No Damacon? Works for me either way. Okay, Damacon, 2. So let's see if we can set any perma fires. Obviously gonna have to wait for 10 seconds. No more ruffle stomp medals here. I think the Des Moines is now chasing after the carrier. or still going chasing the Worcester. Either way, we're holding all 3 capture circles, and I think this should be relatively in the bag. I obviously now have to avoid Nevsky, but that's an HE Nevsky against the destroyer. I'm not too concerned. I'm just trying to get another fire, and yeah, I'm not really getting lucky at this point, but maybe someone else. And I'm taking fire from the right side as well there. Does that mean that the Worcester is still alive? And it looks like we have lost the Des Moines. I am not quite sure how we've managed that, but okay, I am just not getting any perma fires on the Nevsky, unfortunately. So, and I am taking return fire here. So I'm gonna back off a little bit. It is the Worcester. The Worcester is... How is the Worcester still alive? Okay. I'm gonna rush the Worcester at this point. Yes, I am spotted. But he is running either sonar or radar. We get the Def AA ready, but I am gonna just rush the Worcester. And hopefully the Midways, the torpedo bombers are just gonna pass by me for now. This is gonna hurt. Yes, it is, but there come the Midway torpedoes. Torpedoes away at the Worcester. Can I make it out? No. I thought I could just manage it to get out, but I've taken down the Worcester still, which means that that now the Manfred von Richthofen should have clear skies should have a clear approach to take down the Midway from there, and I think there's relatively little chance of them still making anything happen. So, while we're watching that unfold, Vampire 2. It's a daring, but with a twist. It's faster. The guns are a bit better. The torpedoes are better, but you only get half of the loadout, which sort of compensates for that. And it's an all-out good ship, just like the Daring. I think this is an excellent ship to have. If you, I don't know how. I think she's in a sonar sweep. So given that this is a tier 10, this is going to get expensive, as is usually the case. So if you don't want to spend the equivalent of a previous generation laptop on a pixel ship, you can always just go up the British tech tree and get yourself the Daring, which is also a very good ship. If you manage to get your hands on the Vampire, and I would love to, but I'm probably just going to wait until it's either coming out in a bundle or until she is maybe available somewhere else. We'll find out. But yeah, definitely a ship on my list, just because, you know, this would be one ship that I have actually been on, and having that in game would be great. So there you go. That's it. And that's it for me today. Thanks everybody, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.